Danny spends a few minutes lost in thought until his therapist calls his attention. She asks him to recall the traumatic event that brought him to therapy. Danny begins to share the story of losing his daughter. He had taken Minnie to the park, and while she played, he got distracted for just a second. That brief moment was enough for Minnie to vanish without a trace. Danny grew suspicious of a man named Lyle, who had been watching the kids that day, and he got him arrested. However, Lyle's lawyer claimed he was mentally incapacitated and couldn't remember what happened or where Minnie was. Years passed and Danny's wife left him, but he couldn't move on. After the therapy session, Danny looks at pictures of Minnie and his wife, Vivian, who is blonde and white, before meeting his partner, Nix. Together, they head to a local bank after receiving an anonymous tip about an imminent robbery. Nix explains that 2 other branches of the same bank were robbed recently, but in each case, only one specific safety deposit box was taken, even though they contained no money. The 2 detectives arrive and immediately join their surveillance team in the truck to observe the scene outside the bank. They quickly notice a man named Delrain, who looks familiar to Danny. Delrain sits next to a woman on a bench and comments on how hot it is. The woman repeats his words as she walks away. Delrain then approaches the cops in front of the bank, and they let him pass without hesitation. Danny realizes Delrain has accomplices and rushes after him. Inside the bank, an employee tries to stop Danny, but Danny secretly steals the man's keys and pretends he wants to access a safety deposit box. The employee escorts him to the deposit area, but when the employee notices the missing keys, he leaves to search for them. This gives Danny the opportunity to open the box that matches the one robbed at other branches. To his shock, he finds a photo of his daughter along with a handwritten note instructing him to find Lev Delrain. Outside, the woman continues complaining about the heat, removing her clothes as she walks. She ignores traffic lights, causing a major car accident that blocks the road. At the same moment, Delrain enters the bank. With a single word, he convinces the receptionist to close the bank for the day.
Morning. It's late afternoon.
It is late afternoon.
Suddenly, all the cops stationed at the front doors storm inside, threatening everyone to make them leave. Meanwhile, the receptionist retrieves the same deposit box Danny opened earlier. Danny pulls out his gun and orders her to stop, but she acts as if she can't see or hear him and continues moving. The cops soon arrive and shoot Danny, but he is saved by his bulletproof vest. They escort the woman with the box out of the bank and drive away in an armored truck. On the road, they encounter a blockade, and the woman starts acting like she's suffering from heat. The receptionist tries to handle her, but loses control, crashes the truck, and dies instantly from her injuries. Delrain arrives at the crash site, takes the box, and places a bomb in the woman's hand before leaving. By the time Danny catches up, the bomb explodes, destroying all evidence. Spotting Delrain running away, Danny chases him into an old building. A sudden noise startles Danny, but it turns out to be his fellow detectives. The 3 of them head upstairs and find Delrain on the roof. Delrain claims he's the wrong man, prompting the detectives to turn their weapons on Danny. Delrain mentions Lyle and hints at knowing something about Minnie. Danny shows him a picture, demanding answers, just as Delrain realizes the box is empty. Nix arrives with backup, cornering Delrain. In desperation, Delrain tells the detectives to clean up before jumping to escape. The 2 detectives shoot each other, and when Danny looks down at the street, Delrain has vanished. Nix informs Danny that only one guard survived, but like Lyle, he remembers nothing. In the evening, Danny reviews the footage when Nix calls him with an update. Nix tells him they've tracked the anonymous caller and shares the address. Danny heads to the location and meets Diana, a psychic working with a big, burly man. The man steps outside to wait on his bike while Danny questions Diana, but she refuses to answer and nervously asks him to leave. Suddenly, someone approaches the man outside, and moments later, he drives his bike straight through the store, trying to kill Diana and Danny. They dodge just in time. Realizing he failed, the man grabs a piece of debris and takes his own life. Fearing for Diana's safety, Danny brings her to the police station, where she reveals everything. Diana explains that Delrain is a hypnotic with psychic abilities to control minds. She admits she also has similar powers and reveals that both she and Delrain were part of a secret U.S. government agency called the Division. This program initially claimed to help psychics, but later used them for political and military purposes. When Danny doubts her story, Diana demonstrates her power by controlling Nix. She makes him sit, cry, and then step outside for a smoke, all through simple commands. Diana continues, explaining that Delrain is the most powerful hypnotic but turned rogue. The Division tried to stop Delrain, and Diana was one of the agents sent to fight him. Despite their efforts, Delrain escaped. Frustrated, Diana quit the Division and started a new life to stay hidden. When she read about a series of robberies where no one remembered anything, she immediately knew Delrain was involved. Outside, Delrain found Nix and used his powers on him. Under Delrain's influence, Nix stormed back inside, ready to shoot Danny and Diana. Danny tried reasoning with him, but it didn't work, so he shot Nix in the leg to stop him. Even injured, Nix attacked, forcing Danny into a struggle. Danny eventually managed to handcuff Nix to the cell bars, but Nix, still under Delrain's control, kept fighting to follow his orders. He struggled against the handcuffs so desperately that he hurt his wrist, but still nearly escaped. Before he could break free, Diana shot him in the head, killing him. Danny was furious, but Diana explained that Nix would have died anyway, and that her actions freed him from Delrain's control. Knowing they couldn't explain Nix's death, Danny and Diana fled the town. Soon, their faces appeared on the news as fugitives. At a diner, Danny admitted he finally believed Lyle's claim about not remembering anything and realized Delrain was responsible for Minnie's disappearance. Just then, the local sheriff entered the diner and recognized them. Before he could act, Diana used her powers to make him call the station and report seeing the fugitives running away. She also made him pay for their food. As they tried to leave, the sheriff received a radio message. Delrain announced he was coming for them. Outside, Danny and Diana saw Delrain waiting with two cops. Danny told Diana to escape while he distracted them. He ran toward the train tracks, weaving between passing trains to evade the men chasing him. Danny sneaks around, but suddenly spins on his heel, shocked as the landscape folds before him. A noise behind him reveals Delrain and the cops. The landscape quickly shifts back to normal, exposing Delrain's mind trick. Just as the cops prepare to shoot Danny, a truck barrels through and hits them. It's Diana. She and Danny escape in the truck, heading toward Mexico. As they drive, Diana explains that a hypnotic can make people see whatever they want unless they have a psychic block. She suspects Danny has a strong block because her powers don't work on him, though Delrain seemed to.
But you're different.
Why?
You have a block, detective. A psychic block.
When they reach the border, a guard tries to stop them, but Diana uses her powers to make him let them pass. They eventually meet Jeremiah, a former Division worker with no powers but a strong psychic block that only Delrain can break. When they knock on his door, Jeremiah sends his cleaning lady to answer, but grows suspicious. He arms himself as Danny enters alone. Suddenly, the cleaning lady pulls out a gun. It's Diana, using her powers to disguise herself while hiding the real cleaning lady in a closet. When they ask Jeremiah about Delrain, he reveals that Delrain is after Project Domino, a powerful weapon created by the Division. This weapon can control minds in any situation, even those resistant to hypnosis. Delrain stole the domino and hid it in a secret location. To protect its secrecy, he erased his own memory but left hidden clues that could help him remember if needed. Shortly after, the Division captured him. 6 weeks ago, something triggered his memory, and he escaped. Now he's searching for more clues to find the domino, and Jeremiah believes one of those clues might be in a bank deposit box. When Danny finds a picture of Minnie in the boxes and shows it to Jeremiah, Diana grows suspicious. Jeremiah reveals that he's actually Delrain in disguise and fires at them. Danny and Diana flee, blending into the street crowd. Suddenly, some men under Delrain's control attack them. Danny fires his gun into the air, causing civilians to scatter. After fending off the attackers, Danny and Diana escape down another street. They shoot a biker's helmet, knocking him off his bike, and steal it to speed through the town. As they race through the streets, new attackers try to stop them, but they push them away. Suddenly, the landscape begins folding, confusing Danny, but Diana reminds him it's not real. Danny keeps going, causing a truck to swerve off the road and crash. The crash makes a building collapse, forcing them to abandon the bike and run. They end up trapped in a blocked alley as Delrain arrives with a group of cops under his control. He tries to use his powers to capture them. Danny remembers Diana's warning about the block and focuses his mind. He initiates a mental struggle that ends with the cops suddenly turning on Delrain. As the police arrest Delrain, Danny panics, realizing he has powers he's never used before but seems trained to control. Diana concludes that someone must have wiped his memory. They visit another of Diana's friends, River, a skilled hacker who created the Division's network. River searches his computer and uncovers Danny's Marine and police records, but there's no mention of a wife. Digging deeper, River discovers that Danny's ex-wife, Vivian, is part of the Division. Her location is encrypted, so River needs a few hours to crack the code. While waiting, Danny and Diana rest in another room. Danny shares a story about Vivian. They met in college, fell in love, got married, and started a family. However, their relationship crumbled after their daughter Minnie was abducted. Danny believes Vivian lied about her job, but he's certain her pain was real. Later, as Diana showers, Danny gets a call from an unknown number. It's Delrain. Using his powers, Delrain tries to make Danny harm Diana. Danny struggles to resist and hangs up, but the lingering influence drives him to slam his hand on the table. When he searches for Diana, he notices scissors in his hand that he doesn't remember picking up. Fighting for control, he forces himself to stick the scissors into the wall and walk away. But when Diana steps out to check on him, Danny looks down and realizes the scissors are still in his hand. He raises his hands, trying to resist the urge to attack her. Diana sees his reflection in the mirror, quickly turns around and kisses him. The kiss distracts him, helping him break free from the impulse. They get frisky for a while and eventually fall asleep. Later, Danny wakes up from nightmares about his family and a terrifying vision of Diana turning into Vivian. Quietly, he sneaks into another room where River is sleeping. Using the computer, Danny discovers something shocking. Diana's name appears as Vivian in the system, and she is still working for the Division. He realizes his memory has been altered. Diana was his real wife all along, but every time he looked at their photos, he saw a blonde woman instead. When Danny searches for Minnie's profile, he is stunned to find out she's Domino. Her extraordinary abilities come from being the daughter of two powerful hypnotics. At that moment, Diana wakes up and reveals the truth. Both she and Danny had worked for the Division. When the Division discovered Minnie's powers, they wanted to train her to become the most powerful hypnotic in the world. Diana agreed, but Danny refused to let them exploit their child. He kidnapped Minnie and erased his own memories to keep her safe. Danny begins to remember his plan and realizes he was protecting Minnie from everyone in the room. He finally understands the situation isn't real. The room where River is sleeping vanishes, and Danny finds himself in the Division's base. He realizes they have been using an illusion to extract Minnie's location from him. Danny's life as a cop is a lie. Everything he's experienced since meeting the therapist is part of the Division's plan to make him remember where Minnie is. Diana, Nix, the fake Vivian, River, the therapist, and everyone at the bank are all Division agents playing their roles. Delrain is there too, holding a picture and explaining that the words on it are the key to finding Minnie. For 4 years, the Division has been trying to make Danny remember. But every time they get close, Danny realizes the truth and breaks free from their illusion, forcing them to start over. This time, Danny refuses to cooperate and runs outside. He discovers the elaborate sets they've built to make the illusion seem real. Division agents surround him and tase him, knocking him out. When Danny wakes up in a lab, Diana confesses that her love for him is real, but Danny insults her. Frustrated, Diana and the others connect him to a machine to reset his memory. The machine makes him forget everything, leaving him able to respond only with, "I don't know," when questioned. Danny wakes up believing he's back at the therapist's office. The new illusion starts exactly as before, using the same script. While Danny goes through the motions, the division monitors his vitals, and their agents continue acting around the set. But when Danny steps into the fake elevator and checks his phone, he finds photos of Diana's real face. This time, his mental block is strong enough to resist the reset. Danny decides to play along for now. Nix picks him up, and they head to the bank, another part of the staged illusion. At the bank, Danny pretends to take notes about the case in his notebook. Just like last time, he gets out of the truck to enter the bank. But when the division focuses on watching him cross the door, Danny vanishes without a trace. As all the agents search for him, Danny steals a van and drives wildly, running over anything and anyone in his way. Diana uses a radio to transmit her powers through the speakers across the base, but Danny's block is too strong, and he drives away. Meanwhile, Nix finds Danny's notebook and decodes the phrase from the picture. It turns out, "Find Lev Del Rain" is an anagram for Deer Valley Lane, revealing Minnie's location. A few hours later, Danny arrives in Deer Valley, where Carl and Thelma greet him with weapons drawn. After confirming he remembers everything, they take him inside, where Danny finds Minnie, now grown, playing with dominoes. Father and daughter reunite with a hug, and Minnie announces that her mother has arrived. Meanwhile, division agents approach in helicopters, and a quick system search reveals that the Deer Valley Ranch belongs to Thelma and Carl, Danny's foster parents. When the agents land, Thelma and Carl fire a warning shot and speak to Diana as if they know her, but Diana doesn't remember them. Since they won't cooperate, Del Rain orders his men to shoot. Diana, desperate to get her daughter back, runs to the bodies, trying to get them to speak before they die. At that moment, Danny steps out and says that the woman he loves wouldn't want such a life for her daughter, suggesting Diana is just a pawn of the division. Minnie then steps forward and hugs her mother, telling her she's proud of her for coming home. Diana is confused, and Minnie reveals all this has been a plan to escape from the division. Del Rain begins freaking out as he realizes this isn't real, and he shoots the house, causing the illusion to start wavering. Minnie uses her powers to make Nick shoot all the other agents, and the few that try to resist it are controlled by Danny, so they'll end things for themselves instead. Suddenly, the illusion ends and Del Rain discovers they're on a fake set near the hills. Carl and Thelma are alive, and they proceed to shoot any agents that are still standing. In the meantime, Minnie connects to her mother to fix her memories. Diana sees herself tied to a chair with a man in a red mask that is resetting her mind while ignoring her pleas for help. Diana opens her eyes, shocked by all the new memories. And when Del Rain is about to shoot her, Minnie uses his powers to make him end things for himself instead. Then Danny tells the whole story. As soon as Minnie was born, they knew she was extremely powerful. The division began training her, confirming she could be very dangerous and used for war. Danny and Diana didn't want that future for her, but they also knew the division would never let them go. So they made a plan to escape them for good. Minnie was kept hidden with her grandparents, so she could practice her powers until she was strong enough to fight the division while her parents deleted their own memories. Danny wrote the photograph with a clue for himself. Then he put on that red mask to modify Diana's memory and made her believe she was on the division's side. That way one day, she could make them all come here and kill them to end things for good. The family hugs, celebrating that they're finally free from the division. The three of them leave in a helicopter with Thelma, while Carl says he'll stay behind to clean up. However, once they're gone, it's revealed that the dead Del Rain on the ground is actually Carl, and the living Carl had been Del Rain all along. Now, Del Rain can escape and start a new plan to get Minnie. And that's how the movie ends. What did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for more amazing videos. See you next time.